Alright guys, in this video we're going to start to talk about typography and alignment, things like that, things to do with text. So in the Materialize sandbox, I'm going to open up 2_1 typography, and we're going to go to the top here. Now, like I said, we're going to start where it says start here in most cases, but just for this one file, I want to take a look at the container, because everything in the sandbox files is wrapped inside of a container class. Okay, now if you've ever worked with Bootstrap or most other frameworks, there's a container class which gives your content that's within it, it gives it a width, usually a flexible width, and it gives it margin auto and basically pushes it into the middle and adds spacing. So let's open up this file. I'm going to use live server. So I'm going to say open with live server. But of course you can just open it on your file system, or you can use another server, or however you want to open it, just get it open. Alright, now as you can see, there's spacing on the sides here. Even if I were to make this bigger, you'll see up to a certain point, then it just stays at that width, and I think the max width is 1280. So let's actually take a look. If we open up our Chrome tools here and we go to the container and we look over here, you'll see that we have a media query for the min width of 993 pixels, and at this state, at this screen size, the width of the container is 70%. If I were to make this smaller, let's put it back to where we had it and look at the container, now it's 85%. Okay, so that width is going to change based on these media queries. And if we look down here, the max width is 1280 pixels. So no matter how big your browser is, that's the max width it'll be. Okay, it also has that margin auto. So that's the container, and let's go down here now where it says start here, and we're going to start to look at some headings and paragraphs and stuff like that. So I'm going to put in an H1 here. Actually, I'm going to put in a heading of each size just so we can see what they look like. So that'll be heading 2, and I'm using Emmet here. H5 will be heading 5, and H6 heading 6. All right, let's save that. And let's see what we got. So these are what the headings look like. Now there's really no special classes in the Materialize framework for headings. For instance, Bootstrap 4 has the display 1, display 2 headings. There's none of that in Materialize. You just basically have one version of a heading, and you can add color classes, but we'll get into that in the next video. So let's take a look at the CSS for an H1. So if I just go ahead and inspect the H1, you'll see you have a font size of 4.2 rem. Now a rem unit, if you don't know, is a relative measurement in CSS. Basically 1 rem is equal to the amount of pixels of the root HTML element. So if we go ahead and look at that, let's see what that is. So we'll go up to the HTML element, and you'll see there's a font size of 14 pixels. So in Materialize, if we use the unit 1 rem, then we're using 14 pixels. Now where the heading is 4.2 rem, it's going to be 4.2 times 14 pixels, and that'll be the amount of pixels. So we can actually see that under computed in the Chrome tools. If I were to go down here, and you'll see that the actual size in pixels is 58.8 pixels. Okay, heading 2 is 49.84 pixels, which is, if we go back to styles, 3.56 rem. Okay, and then every heading has a line height of 110%, and it has these margins which are also in rem units. Okay, one of the feedbacks that I got on my Bootstrap course, where we did the same thing, we set up a sandbox, is some people said that I was just adding classes and not really talking about what they did. So in this course, I'm going to look more into the CSS and actually see what it's doing. Okay, but I don't want to do that too much, because I think it will just take up a ton of time if we see every single style for every single element in class, but I will be doing it more often than I did in the Bootstrap course. All right, so now for a paragraph, we're going to go ahead and just add a simple paragraph. If you're using Emmet, you can just do lorem. You could do the word lorem and then a number. So let's say 20 and then tab, and that will give me 20 words of sample text. So if I save that, you can see that this is the paragraph I just added. And that's just what a standard paragraph looks like in Materialize. And if we look at the CSS, basically it's just displayed as a block. Not too much style on a paragraph, nothing really special. Now for a block quote, let's go ahead and add that. So we'll go down here and we'll put in a block quote. Oops, we don't want caps. And we'll do lorem 10 tab, which will give us 10 words, and save. And then this is what a block quote looks like. So it basically gives you this red line, this border on the left, and it gives you some padding between the text. Okay, looks like the text size is the same as a paragraph. So that's a block quote. Now, in addition to just a standard paragraph, we have a flow text paragraph. So we can use this with the class of flow-text and save. And you can see it does a couple things. One, it makes the text bigger. So if we were to look at the font size, you'll see it has a font size of 1.392 rem. Now that's at this screen size. Flow text makes it so that this is completely responsive, this text. If I make this bigger, you'll see the text actually gets bigger. So now, if we look, it is wait, did it change? 1.68 rem. Yeah, now if we go down here, it's 1.4, then it's 1.3. So it changes based on the screen size or the device size, which is really cool. All right, so that's what flow text does. So now what I want to do is look at alignment. We have these three H5s here. I want to align them, so we're going to add this first one. We'll have a class of align-left. And if I save, there's going to be no difference because it's already aligned to the left. This one here, let's add a class of align right and save. And that did nothing. Let's see. That's because it's supposed to be left align and right align, not align left and right left. All right, so this will be right align. And save, and you can see now that's aligned to the right. And for this H5 here, let's do class, and let's do center, align, and save, and now that's aligned to the center. Now vertical alignment, what I'm going to do is this div that wraps this H5, I'm just going to give an inline style, and I'm going to give it a height of, let's say, 400 pixels, and then just a light gray background. Okay, and then if I save that, you'll see that it gives it the 400 pixels. And what I want to do is I want this text to be in the middle vertically. So what we would do is we would add a class not to the H5 but to the wrapper. Okay, so there's actually a class called valign-wrapper. And if I save that, it'll move it down, it'll center it vertically. Okay, which can be helpful. We also have quick floats, so if we just want to align to the right or left real quick, we can say class equals, let's do left, and then for this paragraph, we'll do class equals right. Now if I save that, it's going to look weird because what's happening is we're not clearing our floats. So to do that, we need to put a div here, which I have, and we're going to add a class of clear fix, okay, just like Bootstrap if you're familiar with Bootstrap. And I'll be making references to Bootstrap because I'm sure a lot of you already know that framework just because it's so big and popular. So let's save, and now you can see that the floats are being cleared. All right, so I think that's going to do it for alignment and typography and stuff like that. Notice that I can scroll down more. That's because With some of these pages, I just put this margin top 500 pixels. That way you guys don't have to look at the bottom of the screen, because that's what was happening. So I decided to put that there so that I could put stuff in the middle, even if it's at the bottom. All right, so in the next video, we're going to get started on text background colors, okay? Or I should say text colors and background colors.